Welcome to another Eat the Fruit production. Have you ever wondered what happened after Marduk defeated Apsu, Tiamat, and Chingu? In this lesser-known myth from the Neo-Babylonian period, we dive deeper into those events. This story picks up during the Enuma Elish, connecting threads from other ancient tales like the Atrahasis epic and Enlil and Namzitara. But here, the focus shifts to the fate of Chingu, also known as Enmesharra, the lord of all Emis, who was captured after the great battle. Escorted by Nergal, Enmesharra and his 7 children face Marduk's judgment. What follows is swift and brutal. Marduk, in his anger, beheads all 7 for their role in the war. Though Enmesharra's exact fate isn't recorded in this text, other myths confirm his demise, leading to a new divine order. Marduk assumes the title of Enlil, Nabu becomes Ninurta, and Nergal takes the role of Era. The primordial gods are cast aside as the Anunnaki are divided between heaven and the underworld, establishing a new hierarchy for the ages. Now, let's dive into the columns and witness the transformation of the ancient order.
Column 1. When Nergal heard this, he strengthened his bands as he proceeded to the prison. Quickly he approached and drew near to the prison. He opened the gate of the prison, summoning them. He saw them and inspected every one. The seized gods saw him. All of them as one were beside themselves. Nergal stood, shouting to them, addressing a word to Enmesara. The splendor. Marduk himself has commanded that you should not live, and your 7 sons he will quickly bring to a terrible doom. When Enmesara heard this, he cried, alas, and his heart burnt. He opened his mouth and spoke a word. Bel is terrible that I, a god, should not live. His judgments are terrible that my fledglings should not live. Nergal opened his mouth, addressing a word to Enmesara. The splendor from the beginning, from the very beginning. This has been your answer, Enmesara. Column 2. When Nergal heard this, quickly he came nigh, he drew near to them. As he was watching them all, he made Enmesara set out first, and his 7 sons afterwards. Enmesara went in front, his 7 sons were marching behind him. With Nergal as their escort, they quickly entered the presence of Marduk. Marduk suddenly raised his head. He raised his head to look at them. With terrible anger, he roared at them. Marduk opened his mouth, addressing a word to Enmesara. The splendor, thus you thought in your heart, I will swallow the power of Marduk. You are the offspring of an evil intention, and your sons perform the task of battle. Exalted Marduk lifted up his weapons. He cut off the heads of the sons of Enmesara, and drew representations of them on the wall. Their father, Enmesara, he bound with his hands, and all his splendor he set on Samas. He drew a representation of him on his dwelling. Enmesara he bound with his hands. Column 3. He addressed them to set the ways of the gods, the power of Anu, of Enlil, and of Ninurta. He summoned Nabu to give him the command, the rule of the land of Ninurta, quickly take from his power. Proceed, bull, to Borsippa. Nergal took the power of Era, Marduk the power of Enlil. Marduk, Nabu, and Nergal took the lordship of Anu equally. Marduk took the power of the spear star. Nabu took the power of Ninurta. Nergal took the power of Era. Quickly he proceeded and took up his residence. Column 4. He perfected the regulations. He ascended and sat in the heavens. He took up residence in the abode of Anu magnificently. Bel took Babylon. Nabu took Borsippa. Nergal took Kutha. Zababa took Kish. Samas took Sippar. Sin took Ur. Adad took Bit-Karkara. Enlil took Nippur. Urus took Dilbat. Erimabinutuku took Isin. All the gods got land. A voice proclaimed from heaven, Uruk and Nippur are burnt and defeated. Their foundations are uprooted and thrown into the water. Column 5. Marduk, most exalted of the great gods, who has no equal among the gods. His fathers, lord of the heavens and netherworld, light of the world regions, who resides in Esagil, lord of Babylon. Marduk the exalted, your writing was fixed in former time. The utterance of your mouth cannot be changed. I, the fish goat, speak forth your bravery. Thus far, the series is completed. Total, these 8 tablets written above. When the regulations were completed and Marduk had taken the rule, a voice proclaimed from heaven, "Bull, Lord of the lands, he has been called King of all peoples. To consolidate the universe to distant days, he has grasped the scepter and mace in his hand." The wise chief lamentation singer. Column 6. All the gods of Borsippa, Kutha and Kish, and the gods of all the cult centers come to Babylon to take the hand of the great lord Marduk, and they go with him to the Akitu house. The king offers a libation before them. He recites a prayer. Anu and Enlil, from Uruk and Nippur to Babylon to take the hand of Bel, and come. They go in procession with him to Esiskur. With them all the great gods come to Babylon. All the gods who go with Bel to Esiskur are like a king whose army cannot be annihilated. The spear star is Marduk, Ninurta is Nabu. Bel, Nabu and Nergal took the lordship of Anu equally.
After hearing the dramatic events of the defeat of Enmesharra, we see how Marduk asserted his dominance by condemning Enmesharra and his sons, marking the end of their rebellion. This myth captures the cosmic reshuffling of divine power, with Marduk emerging as the supreme ruler of both heaven and earth. Gods like Nergal and Nabu were granted new roles, and a grand procession to Babylon celebrated Marduk's unchallenged reign. What do you think? Was Marduk's judgment too harsh, or was it necessary to maintain order? Let us know in the comments. And if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more fascinating stories.